To go live and talk about the first 5 minutes that how I spend the first 5 minutes of my classes, and if you can benefit from this, hopefully so. And here we go. What is this? No, don't want to leave. Little button came up and said, do I want to leave the live? I'm like, nope. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So first, I just wanted to take the time to thank everyone for your kind words yesterday. When my book went live, it really means a lot. And honestly, like I said yesterday, if this is something that you want to do, like writing a book or, doing something like that, now is 100% the time to do it. And it doesn't have to be a book, right? It can be whatever project or idea or burning desire that's been lingering in your mind. Now's the time to make that ideal come alive. I truly believe that. And if you need support or anything like that, just feel free to reach out. So anyway, I wanted to talk with you today about one of my favorite chapters in the book, which deals with inspiration. And I go into more detail with this, but hopefully this will give you some nuggets that you can bring into your own classroom. So Gen Zers are a mixed bag when it comes to their behavior and logic, and everything they do is influenced by their core. But one of the key differences between Gen Zers and other generations is that their core is made up of many different influences, a lot more than a boomer's influence or a Gen Xer's influence, and even a millennial's. For the Zers that I have in my class, they are very bold in certain ways, but not in others. So, for example, they have no issue confronting authority, but they are very afraid to, put themselves out there when it comes to these amazing things that they're doing, like starting their own businesses, producing their own music or films, creating content for social media, writing. You probably know many students like this that have tremendous talent in your classroom that are very hesitant to put that out into the world and to put themselves on display in that way. So this shows us, and I go into more detail about this in the book, but this shows us that really on the inside, Zers are very conflicted. And one of the reasons why is because of this conflict at their core between individualism and assimilation. So as an individual, they know that they're capable of doing more. They know what they're capable of doing. And for those that are doing some seriously cool things, like yesterday, one student I had spoken to said that he makes music every day after school in his home studio. And he said that I asked him, how did you get all the materials to make your own music studio? And he said he worked really hard to gradually buy all the parts and pieces of equipment that he needed. So then I asked him, I said, do you share your music with anyone? And he said no. So this is clearly something that he's really passionate about. And it kind of struck me as interesting because when it comes to the things that I'm doing, like if I'm creating a class or a book or this or that, I have no problem talking about it because it's what gets me excited. It generates a lot of energy in me, and it fills me up. It recharges my batteries. But he said no. So I asked my other students, I said, why do you guys think that it's so difficult for, people in your generation to really let your light shine, right? And so every class period had the exact same answers. It was fear of judgment, fear of criticism, and people just don't care. That's what they were saying. Like if they do something cool and they were to tell someone about it, that no one really cares. Those were the most common responses. So the question then begs, what exactly is Gen Z conflicted about? Well, again, it goes back to this idea of individualism versus assimilation. Do you assimilate into the dominant culture of victimhood, mediocrity, and entitlement, where your thoughts and actions must be in harmony with the group, or you will be shamed, criticized, or even exiled? Or do you pursue your own path to happiness that enhances the value of your own life, but that also of the group with your own unique contributions? And so most Zers will choose one of two paths. Either they will follow the crowd, or they will follow the path of their choosing, but they will work in silence, like this particular student, not letting anyone except for maybe a very select few know what they're doing. And so knowing this, I take the first 5 minutes of my class each day to inspire my students and to give them every reason to be excited about life and their futures and everything. And today's lesson, so I'll kind of go into detail with that with you. Today's lesson was on a quote that I had heard from a TikTok video, actually. And the quote was, "Don't tell yourself no, let somebody else do that." And I asked the students, I said, what do you think that quote means? Don't tell yourself no, let somebody else do that. And so what they said is they thought that it meant that, you should basically do whatever you want, regardless of what anyone thinks. And so I then added, I said, well, it's not really about doing whatever you want, regardless of its impact on others. It's actually quite the opposite. It's actually the most unselfish thing that you can do. It's about knowing that each and every one of you, and I told my kids this, I said, it's about knowing that each and every one of you has a valuable gift, something that can transform the lives of those who are open to receiving it. And I said, believe me, there will be people who are open to receiving your gift. And so when that, little voice in your head, and I told them this, I said, so when that little voice in your head tells you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not capable enough, you're not old enough, you're not wise enough, you're not this enough, right? Then, and that, that voice that tells you that you shouldn't do something, you shouldn't put yourself out there, you shouldn't create this content, you shouldn't write that song, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. The key is, remember that listening to that voice is a mistake, because you're slamming the door in your own face before the people have had a chance to learn, grow, and be inspired by and from what you're doing. So the people who need your message, who need to hear and benefit from what you're doing, they don't even get to benefit from the services that you provide if you say no to your own self. So let other people say no to you, but don't say no to yourself in that way, because you're essentially denying the group or the people who need you the most before they've even had a chance to benefit from what you actually do. So I said, so the naysayers, the haters, the criticizers, the judgers, let them be them, right? That's who they are. And I said, the naysayers are the sayers of nay, right? The haters are the ones who hate. The criticizers are the ones who criticize, and the judges are the ones who judge. That's just who they are. So let them be who they are and let them say no to you. But if you see an opportunity or think that there's something that you want to do that adds value to your own life and that of others, who cares, right? If you're not qualified, or if you don't know enough, or if you, don't have enough experience, or you're not old enough, right? Or you don't have this, or you don't have that. Let them be the one to tell you no. You just go for it. It's their job to say no, and your job to say yes. And so every day, the kids come in, they hear an inspirational speech like that for the first 5 minutes of class, and it was cool. One of my students, he came in and he goes, Mr. Sanders, are we gonna be inspired today? And I was like, every day, child, for the first 5 minutes, that's what we do. So anyway, that's what that's a portion of the book, Inspiration. It's one of my favorite chapters. So if you haven't picked it up yet, I'm excited for you. It's available on Kindle. It'll be available on Kindle very soon, and then the paperback version is already there. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to let me know. And hopefully this generational chat was inspirational for you. So I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.